Good morning, everybody. Can you hear? Over the laughter of our children back there. So it's so wonderful to see you here this morning on this beautiful day here in Watkins Park. My name is Betty Hager Francis, and I serve as Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Health, Human Services, and Education. With us this morning are our County Executive, Rashern Baker, our State's Attorney, Angela Alsobrooks, our Police Chief, Henry P. Stawinski, also known as Hank Stawinski, our Deputy Sheriff, Darren Palmer, my good friend for 10 years or more, our Director of Social Services, Gloria Brown, and the Acting Director of the Prince George's Child Resource Center, Jennifer Hoffman. And we're all here together to talk about making sure that we are taking good care of our children, that we are putting our children's child care first. We thank you all for coming out today to launch the Child Care Safety Awareness Campaign. We can think of no task more important than protecting the innocent and most vulnerable in our community, who are our children. As most of you know, April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. It is our goal to spend the month of April highlighting the importance of keeping all of our children safe. It's not only important this month, though, but every day of the year. It's really critical that every one of us understand that child safety is a sacred trust and a responsibility that we all share every day. When we hear about the tragic news that one of our children has been mistreated or hurt in any way, we all have heavy hearts. But you know, deep down, we sometimes think, in fact, I think we always think, yeah, but that could never happen to me. The truth of the matter is, it can happen to you. It can happen to all of us. And that's why it's so important to think about our children's safety before we think about anything else. I'm so pleased to see all of you here. I see our Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, who is Mark McGaugh, our former police chief. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We have our new Director of Family Services with us today, Elena Balan Butler. And we have so many community members, people who actually take care of our children every day, our daycare providers, and we have all these beautiful children behind us. That makes this day perfect. I'd really like to thank our media partners who are here today helping us to get this information out to people today. There are things that we want people to know. One is that if you need to know where to find licensed childcare, please call the Maryland Family Network. That number is 877-261-0060. The other thing that we want you to leave here with us today is, I guess I used to call it a door hanger, but there's another name for it these days. But there are 10 things to consider when leaving your child alone with anyone. And we really would like everybody to walk away with this so that you can consider before you leave your child with any caregiver. Now, without further delay, it's my pleasure to introduce our State's Attorney, Angela Alsobrooks, who takes such care in prosecuting offenders, but she takes even as much care in trying to prevent crime in this county. And I'd like to introduce Angela Alsobrooks.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. We often say what a beautiful day it is. I think today we actually know that this is just a magnificent day in so many ways. I'm grateful to be here. I want to say thank you, first of all, to County Executive Rushern Baker. I want to say thank you to his entire administration. I have to really say thank you as well to Betty Francis and her entire team, Gloria Brown, and all the others who treat the children of Prince George's County and their families as they would treat their own children. Their care for them is phenomenal, and today is just another example of it. We're here because we're talking about what really has become, and I think quite literally, my favorite topic, and I share this with others, and it is, what can we do to invest in and protect our children? This is, as Ms. Francis has said, a sacred obligation that we have. We take it very seriously, and so finally having an opportunity today to talk about how we can do more and more to protect these children who depend on us for their very lives is a wonderful thing. And this is a time where we have an opportunity to say that there really are ways that we can keep our children safe, that there are so many resources in Prince George's County that are licensed, that are safe, that we can leave our children in each day, and we want families to know about this. And there could be no better time to discuss this topic than now, when we have seen 5 children over the last 2 years who have been killed at the hands of their mother's boyfriends, who have told us after these offenses occurred that they didn't believe that there were safe options to leave their children. We have to do more, we can do more, and today we are saying that this is an opportunity for us to share those resources with those families. So many of you have become familiar, for example, with the case of Clifton Bernard. He is the individual who had in his care Mr. Shipes, Jameer Shipes, 2-year-old Jameer Shipes, who depended on Mr. Bernard, and Mr. Bernard found that he had disrespected him by looking at him in a funny way, and punched him and treated him like an adult, killed him, knocked his head through a wall. And so these cases cannot happen on our watch. And here today, we're here to say that we really have to do more, and we can do more. And so I'm excited about the resources that will be shared here with each of you, and hoping that we will share them with our neighbors, that we don't leave here and keep this information to ourselves, but we have to really debunk what we've been taught even as children, and that is to mind our business. We were raised kind of this way, right? That we should mind our business. And we believe now that we no longer can afford to mind our business, but instead we have to take care of not only our own families, but reach out and make sure that our neighbors are safe too. And today, even after we share with you the resources that the government will have available, I think that it is important to remember as well that there is no better way to protect a child than to educate and arm a parent. There's no better defense against what we are seeing than an educated and a vigilant parent. There's no substitute for this. And so even though the government is here to say that we will help and we will be there every step of the way, that we will react well, as the state's attorney's office has done when these offenses occur, I promise you that there is no person who can harm a child in this community and have it taken lightly. There is no way that will ever happen. We will hold those individuals accountable. I want to thank Chief Stawinski, who is here as well. I want to thank Darren Palmer. The law enforcement response in this county has been outstanding. These individuals, as you have noticed, are arrested very quickly. They will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, but we have found that that is not enough. That working at the police station, at the courthouse, is an inadequate response. But what we're doing today is in addition to that, but we cannot do it without the parents. And so we urge every parent under the sound of our voice to please, please, please take advantage of the resources that are being shared here today. And I have to say, even as a mother, I'm a mother of a 10-year-old daughter, and so I understand the difficulty that comes in finding childcare, the strain and stress of handling the responsibility of working while managing also the care of a child. But please do know who you leave your children with, that we are seeing that far too often we're leaving our children in the hands of people we scarcely know. We have just met very recently. We're not familiar with their backgrounds. And as parents, we cannot afford, these are our most precious resource, to be so cavalier at times in terms of leaving our children with individuals we have just met, or those whose backgrounds we're unfamiliar with. And so there is a way to protect our children who in too many instances are defenseless. And this is one of those instances. So I say thank you again to the Family Network resource that is here today, to thank you to the government and all of our other partners who are going to lock arms with us and make sure that we do our level best to take care of our sacred responsibility to each of these children, and we will not stop until every child is safe. So thank you so very much for being here, and I'm looking forward to the days to come. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Hank Stawinski, and I have the privilege of being the Chief of Police in Prince George's County. I'm particularly grateful for the opportunity to be with you this morning because it may seem counterintuitive that the Chief of Police would be engaged in a prevention effort such as this. But the reality is that this department, beginning with Chief McGaw and my goal in leading after him, is to make this a prevention-oriented, strategy-based police department. Now, I do have some very talented people with me this morning. There's no better commander than Lieutenant Harvin, and no better deputy of investigations than Sammy Patel. Both of them here today to support this effort. But the reality is, and I've stood with Ms. Olso Brooks on a number of occasions so far this year, and I've said, our goal as a police agency is not to investigate these cases well once we learn of them, it is to prevent them from happening in the first place. And that's where I'm asking for your help. And that's the point of my being here today. When I accepted this responsibility, I pointed out that the largest driving reason for me to take this on was my own daughter and making this a safer county for her and her friends and our future. So I'll leave you with a simple thought. Be nosy, ask questions, and call with concerns. Where your children are concerned, be nosy, ask questions, and call with concerns. It's a privilege to be here, thank you. And I believe it's my privilege now to introduce Darren Palmer, my longtime friend and partner, Deputy Sheriff of the Prince George's County Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of Sheriff Melvin High, I wish you greetings on this beautiful day in front of all these children that are enjoying all the activities behind us that probably make us just a tiny bit jealous that we're sitting here and not there. My name is Colonel Darren Palmer. I serve as the Chief Assistant Sheriff for Prince George's County. So parents always have their children as their first concern. And when they start to look for childcare, they often find that they don't know where to go to ensure that they have qualified care. And so we've heard some of the circumstances that are created that really are unsafe situations. And what a great opportunity today to make some change on that. There are two pieces that we have come to realize in our work in trying to keep families safe and protect victims of domestic violence. Education is incredibly important, and then access to resources. And so I congratulate Director Brown and the Department of Social Services because they have accomplished both of those challenges today. They're getting this word out, and again, thank you all for coming and sharing and making sure everyone knows that this is available. And they've created the link to appropriate childcare, and so that families can get to the help that they need and providing for their children. So once again, I thank you all for coming, and it is in fact a great day in Prince George's County. Director Brown? I know, I spoke a lot.
Good morning. I want to start with recognizing that I have some members of my advisory board, the Prince George's County Department of Social Services Advisory Board in the audience, and I want to thank them for being here. It's always important that the community support the efforts that we make to engage and educate our community. We're all here today because of the importance of protecting our innocent, our young. In April, child advocates across the nation are focusing on prevention of child abuse. And in Prince George's County, we've conducted, for 2015, over 2,200 investigations for abuse and neglect. Every month, we provide services to 1,200 youth in Prince George's County, whether it's our foster care, our family preservation services, our Transforming Neighborhood initiative within the schools, and even our shelter for homeless and runaway youth. We touch the youth of Prince George's County in a very big way. We know that each day parents have a very difficult decision to make. We make millions of decisions without thought. And we're here today because we don't want where you leave your child to be one of those decisions that are made without thought. We believe that our children are important enough that we do due diligence to ensure that wherever, with whomever we leave our children, we have invested investigative time. One of the sub-themes of our campaign is the word stop. We want people to stop and think about the decisions they're making. The S in stop is for safety. Make sure that where you're leaving your children is a safe place. The T is for trust. Do you know this person well enough to really trust that they will take good care of your child? The O is for observation. Have you taken the time to observe the environment, the person, the people around where you're about to leave your child? And P is for planning. Please have an alternative plan so that you don't have to make bad decisions on the fly, whether you're running off to run some errands or going to work for 8 to 12 hours. I need you to plan about where you're going to leave your kids. This is a very important issue for us because at the Department of Social Services, we do a lot of response. We investigate after we've been alerted that a child may have been abused or neglected. And we feel like we could be more proactive about education, about providing resources so that we prevent and we don't have to respond. So I'm very thankful that you're all here. I'm thankful to my staff who have done a yeoman's job of planning this, to the Health and Human Service agencies that are partners with us, to our nonprofit partners, Child Care Resource Center, Maryland Family Network, the hospitals. You see on the stage in front of you the onesies. We're going to be issuing onesies to the labor and delivery hospitals and asking that they go home with newborns along with information about locating childcare, about what abuse and neglect looks like, and with our information to contact us when there's an issue, because we want to be on the front end of it. We don't want to be on the investigative end of it. So thank you, and I am going to turn it over to Jennifer Hoffman from the Child Care Resource Center.
Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here. I am Jennifer Hoffman, Deputy Director of Prince George's Child Resource Center, and we are so proud to be a part of this child care safety campaign. And special thanks to County Executive Baker and State's Attorney Asa Brooks for your leadership on this issue. Thank you. Prince George's Child Resource Center exists to make sure that children have and families have access to quality child care. And since 1990, we have touched the lives of nearly 500,000 children in Prince George's County. And we've all seen the research about what's best for young children, and it confirms what we already know, that early quality child care matters. We also know that quality doesn't just happen. Quality takes effort, commitment, and investment. The playground is full of licensed childcare providers that brought about 100 children in order to show you what quality childcare looks like. They're from Bible Babies, King's Kids, It's a Family Affair, and a number of family childcare providers. And every day that hard work is undermined when we allow illegal providers to provide services in our county. And too often tragedy strikes, preventable tragedies. Our hearts go out to the family of Savannah Wright, a case that made news again this past week because her illegally operating child care provider has finally been arrested and charged in her death. This is what is at stake. We must insist on access to affordable, reliable, licensed child care. A child care license isn't just a piece of paper. It means a provider meets basic health and safety requirements. It means expectations of training and qualifications. It means it is a profession. Licensure is the foundation for quality, but unlicensed care in Prince George's County threatens quality and our drive for improvement. Childcare matters in every corner of our country and every corner of our economy. And nationwide, we're having conversations about it. Maryland has accomplished so much to foster quality early childcare already, but unmet needs persist, and too many providers and families are falling through the cracks. There's a role at every level for ensuring access to affordable, safe, reliable childcare. Prince George's County is stepping up, and we are thrilled to be a partner to spread the word to families about childcare options. Families, we urge you to choose licensed childcare. But we also understand that you're doing your best, choosing from among what you can afford, and too often with too little support. Sometimes it's easy for us to sit back and talk about quality childcare, create a checklist of what to look for, but for many families, that idea of a choice is a false one because the price of care puts quality out of reach. From 2006 to 2013, 5,600 Maryland families lost access to child care subsidy assistance, and far too many remain on the waiting list today. We're committed to spreading the word so that families know their options, and Do You Know Who's Watching Your Children is an effective way to do that. We're also committed to advocating at the federal, state, and local level for families, for support for families and support for providers, dollars to help families pay for childcare, and dollars to invest in quality programs. And we're committed to celebrating the quality provider community. The Resource Center helps ensure that nearly 900 licensed family childcare providers and more than 400 childcare programs in our county are respected, appreciated, and supported in their work to foster thriving families and communities. The most important thing we can do to strengthen our community and build a brighter future is to invest in high-quality early childhood care and education, healthcare, and family support services. With more than 60,000 residents in our county under the age of 5, these are investments that set the foundation for better schools, safer communities, and a stronger workforce now and in the future. So the question is, not only do you know who's watching your children, but do we as a community know who's watching our children? Thank you. Our county executive, Rashawn.
Thank you. Can we give Jennifer a round of applause? Wasn't that great? I mean, that was really good information. I want to thank her for being here. I want to thank our state's attorney, Angela Alsobrook. Can we give her a round of applause? She's terrific. Chief Stawinski. Very good. Colonel Palmer, and our superstar, Gloria Brown. I also want to thank Betty Francis. If those of you, our DCOs, Mark knows this, if you're in a meeting when anything happens, there is no better advocate for bringing this to the attention of the administration and making us do something than Betty Hager Francis, and she has done a great job. Can we give her a round of applause? I want to do this first because I don't want to forget it. I am getting old. The Maryland Family Network number is 1-877-261-0060. I want to make sure we get that out there. When you get to be my age, what you have is a whole bunch of stories. Now, if you're one of the young adults that sometimes occupy my house, you get sick of those stories. But you can't help but, thinking about. So as I was listening to everyone talk, I thought about my wife and I, quite frankly. We were young parents, at least young for the college folks that graduated with us. We had our son, who I won't call Snack because he'll get mad. But we had him before anybody else had their children in our age. And we had very demanding jobs, at least she did, working on Capitol Hill, working for Bill Gray when he was the budget leader. So she was on Capitol Hill a lot. So it was my task to drop our son off and to pick him up. And I dropped Snacky off at this place that we had picked out because we didn't have any family in this area. She's from Richmond, I'm from Massachusetts. So we had to figure out what we were going to do. So we dropped him off. And I am a nervous parent. And little Snacky went in there to the daycare. And he looked so sad when he walked through that door. And then his daddy came and picked him up, and he ran and go, "Daddy!" And he grabbed my leg. And I said, "Honey," Snacky ran he ain't getting along in there. And she said, "You better take that child back there because you got to go to work." I did that for 2 days. Day 2, I said, "I don't care what is going on. My child looks nervous." There was no reason to believe anything was wrong in that daycare. But as a nervous parent, I couldn't work during the day thinking about what was going on with my child. So I grabbed Snacky and I took him to work with me. I showed up. My boss said, "Excuse me," and I told her, I said, "I need this job because you know what? My wife is going to kill me if I don't have health insurance. But I cannot leave my child at that place." And she said, "You know, I raised 3 kids on my own. I know what you mean." So for 6 months, I'd pack him up and I'd take him to work. And he's sitting there, he run around. Until this very day, he thinks that he gets to go everywhere I go. Now, you may wonder, why did I bring that up? When we talk about the tragedies that go on that we've covered here, that's just it. It's not parents who don't care. It's parents who don't have options or don't think they have options. They don't know where they can leave their child. And they're not fortunate enough to be in the type of jobs that I'm in today, that my wife and I were in when we were in our early 20s, that we can make that decision that, you know what, I don't care what in the world is going on, I am going to take my child everywhere with them to make sure they're safe. They have to go to work. They have to run errands. What this conference is about today is not about the cases that we've talked about. It is about the information that we want you to share with these parents. Yes, we not only want nosy neighbors, we want nosy everybody. We want them to know when they walk away from that hospital, there are options for them. That there's a place they can turn and get information. That there is a county and there is a county government that's going to do everything in its power to make sure they have the same options and choices that my wife and I were blessed with. That is what we're talking about today. That is why this is so important. That every child, every parent understands that there's a way to leave their children to go to work and for them to be safe. Thank you. Now, Betty Francis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Baker, and thank you all for coming today. Before we close, I'd like to, I don't know if you've seen the onesies that we've been talking about. A basket of the onesies will be going to Dimensions today. We have Erica Murray here today from Dimensions. And they'll be included, as I think Gloria Brown said, in packages going home with newborn babies, to have parents really start thinking about this as soon as the baby comes home from the hospital. So I'm going to hold it up.
Right.
Here's one that says, "Stop. Who's watching me?" And then we have one that says, "My mommy cares. My mommy knows who's watching me." And we have the number of the Maryland Family Network here. And we have one that says that my daddy knows who's watching me. Can we have a gentleman from the Maryland Family Network stand up and be recognized, please? Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for partnering with us. I want to thank the folks from the Department of Social Services who work tirelessly caring for our children. and our most vulnerable children. I want to thank Dee Dee Bass Wilbon, Loretta Tillery, and Germani Dowd, who worked very hard on this campaign to get all these materials ready for us today. And please be sure to take some of this with you when you leave today. The checklist of items and things to think about when leaving your child alone with somebody is very important, and we'd like to get this message out. The main message, though, is that licensed daycare is, we hope, what you'll be able to get for your child. Licensed daycare. Thank you so much for coming, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.